So as much as people want to hate on Tyra, this platform is still allowing for certain things to happen.
The time was just so different where there was really no boundary with like what they were filming. I think they just wanted to produce a great show.
We're only seeing literally 30 seconds of maybe a 3-hour interaction.
Right. But I definitely feel like there are still a lot of stigmas around, you know, being black in the entertainment industry.
There's an appetite and been an appetite for, you know, the culture that reality TV has created.
Right now on Rooted, from Smise to Demise, how the world has turned on Tyra Banks.
And a big thank you to our sponsor, Brightbound, for supporting this conversation. Brightbound is reimagining career readiness, helping middle and high school students explore their passions, try out career paths, and make confident decisions about their future.
Courtney, Tanisha, Sophia, thank you each so much for being here. Now, before we get into this conversation, let's take a look at probably the most famous moment from America's Next Top Model.
I have never in my life yelled at a girl like this. When my mother yells at this, it's because she loves me. I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you?
Okay, so a lot going on there, right? And at this point, that clip is so much in the canon. It's been referenced, Family Guy, etc. But Courtney, after watching this documentary, is it more layered than just Tyra yelling at somebody?
Yeah, I mean, I think that when we're looking at it, and of course those clips, it's sound bites, it's 15, 20 seconds that you can take any sort of way, and now that it's been remixed and put out there into social, it has other context and it has deeper context, and I think especially in our current world versus 2000 and early 2000s, like there's different energy around it, and I think that the energy and just the anger, and then here you have Tyra and she's yelling at a younger black woman, and like now there's all these things that are surrounding it. That is why we're here today, right? Speaking about, just the controversialness around it. So for me, I was like, but I think at the same time, it's a lot deeper than that. And as we walk through the documentary, you see all the layers of it. But was she wrong? But maybe she isn't.
And that kind of like was she, wasn't she, is the whole focal point of this documentary, right? It's because we see Tyra looking back at a younger version of herself that existed in the time, like Courtney's saying, where certain things were acceptable. But Sophia, is it fair for all the blame to be falling on her?
No, I watched the show, probably the first 5 or 6 seasons adamantly, so I saw a lot of stuff in kind of live time, and then watching this documentary, I think there's some accountability that can be held because your train is only as strong as the engineer, right? And because Tyra was the face, she was the producer, she has to take accountability for things that happened, whether she was in direct control or not, because this was her project and she was the lead. So anyone following her, it's up to her. I did hear some apologies. Some of them could have maybe gone a little bit deeper, but we don't know what any kind of back conversations were. And like Courtney said, we're only seeing literally 30 seconds of maybe a 3-hour interaction.
Right.
So we're not getting
And they said that wasn't even the worst of what she said.
Exactly, right.
Exactly. So, and we don't know what her response back was that kept this kind of like negative interaction going and going and going. So am I here to judge, cast blame? I think there were some things that we could have done differently. I understood where some things came from, and I guess we'll dive into it deeper, but there were some areas where like I understood Tyra's decisions because of the time that show was being produced and what the society was putting as a demand. This is what we want.
And Tanisha, to that point, what was acceptable then that we are looking back now and saying, oh no, that could not happen in 2026?
Oh yeah, I feel like the intention behind, cameras following you everywhere, getting the moments that are not nice. I feel like a lot of reality TV, even now, they, get certain moments that are like, okay, ooh, you probably shouldn't have gotten that and shown that. But especially back in the early 2000s, the time was just so different, where there was really no boundary with like what they were filming. I think they just wanted to produce a great show and be entertaining for people to continue to watch, and they got caught up in that. And I think that Tyra and her team, looking back on it now, there was some accountability that they said, okay, we shouldn't have done that, we shouldn't have shown that. But I do think that there is a lot of growing that the industry has done. Still have a lot of work to do, definitely with that, but I felt Tyra in that scene because she really saw herself in that model. That model came from nothing. She didn't have a lot of opportunities. She felt like she was making a mockery of the moment and saying, oh girl, please, oh, I'm going home, it's fine. And she was talking to the other models, and it was kind of like brushing it off like this is not a big opportunity. And what Tyra was building and what she built was a big opportunity.
But there's questions about how big it actually was, right? Because we see people like Danny Evans, who are like, I went on and wasn't really able to do a whole lot with my career. But that's also not exactly what the show promised.
Right, exactly.
It promised you an opportunity to
There's no guarantees.
A superstar.
Right.
And it doesn't matter if you sign directly with Wilhelmina or Click or Ford. No one can promise you that tomorrow the calls are going to come in and you're going to get a $100,000 job.
Right.
The only thing anyone can honestly promise you is their time, their energy, and their knowledge.
Right.
You got that from the show whether you won or didn't win. If you didn't walk away learning something, then I question you.
Right. And is it because of these models that were a part of America's Next Top Model, were they not provided the opportunities because they were, they were on this Tyra Banks platform? She's a black woman. Some of the girls that were having these complaints were minorities as well, and we heard from one Caucasian model as well. But is it because it's the Tyra Banks platform and it's her show why they, these doors were kind of closed for them?
Yeah, and Courtney, I know you have some thoughts about that.
No, and we talked a little bit about this, and I think for me, in my lens, I'm always looking at these reality shows, and especially whenever we do anything as black people, and especially as black women, right? There's the black tax, and then there's that black woman tax on things. So for Tyra's innovation, for whatever the time was the original plan was we're going to flip the industry from just being about being thin, being white, being tall, being blonde. And so even her success was a threat to what the industry was saying had to be the way. And so, yes, maybe these models didn't get the opportunities that they thought, but I would be questioning, no, it's not because Tyra is some sort of way, but more so the industry wanted to sabotage or not have that storyline be like, oh, you can do it this way because they've been selling a different story in regard to.
Or even that you're just here because you were on Top Model.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And I think that, too, the opportunities that become about in the industry as a whole, because I'm an entertainer, I've been an entertainer all my life, songwriter, model, actress, all the things. And when you're in the entertainment industry, you have to pivot and you have to really root for yourself in a lot of different rooms. And so you can't just depend on a TV show to bring you to that moment. Like I overheard one of the models say on one of the confessionals that she couldn't use any of the photos from Top Model because they were like over edited and makeup
they had her in a casket.
Yeah, in a casket and all those things. But it's a part of a portfolio.
It's a part of a portfolio, but what I was annoyed by or slightly frustrated was that she didn't pull the positive from it. She only could find the negative.
Yes,
the positive
that was a problem
from
for me.
that is that you should now not be a one-look wonder.
Exactly.
You should have
been able to turn
more
that.
than 2 to 3 facial and body language that you could go into a regular style shoot and give it to them.
Yes.
So I felt like there was a lot of this blame. What I didn't get, who didn't give it, instead of saying this is what I got and this is how I work with it.
Yes.
And there's examples of that with people like Takara Jones, even Marcel, Winnie Harlow.
Winnie Harlow,
Huge successes.
And you see how she was not on that direct.
Nope.
I know, which I was surprised about.
Because they
None
didn't
of them
want to talk about the ones who really did end up having
and that's the point,
a decent amount of success.
Right there that we have to think of. So we're watching this as entertainment, and it's a documentary, but we also it's somebody's story and somebody's lens and narrative that they want to push. Right. So the sound bites, even when the girls were talking about like, oh, I didn't even think that when we were doing the confessionals, like this information or these sound bites, or it was going to get positioned in that way. We have to take this documentary documentary for the same kind of thing. There's an angle and a storyline that needs to get pushed, because all the Jays are doing media tours around this piece right now too. You're rethinking your careers and telling your story. So as much as people want to hate on Tyra, this platform is still allowing for certain things to happen. So we've got to remember, as like consumers, in the same light, it's like, no, like, this documentary, there's some facts in it, but there's also, we're only hearing what you want me to be able to hear.
And you raise an important point, too, about all the people who were in line behind Tyra. So, yes, like, she was the one who was engineering this, who was the visionary here, but there were other people. I mean, there's multiple scenes where the judges were also at fault for perpetuating some of these harms.
Like homegirl Janice with the lips.
Oh, exactly. Right, exactly.
Janice, right? Janice comes from old school.
Right.
And I'm going to tell y'all, as someone who works with models, owns my own company, I started modeling when I was 12. As an African-American woman coming out of New England, it's not easy, and they have no training in psychology, right? How to talk to people. I have heard agents tell models, I don't like your face. What do I do with that, right?
Absolutely. She was given the real deal.
So she was giving what that's what she was raised with. So you have to also remember that these models and these mentors that were a part of the show were raised by this industry. So they only can mentor based off of what their experience is.
I want to show a clip here, because there is a moment that sticks out of where the judges were talking to one of the models, Yaya DaCosta, about how she should dress African. And the irony is that Yaya is an African woman herself.
Yaya, I think you look beautiful. I think everyone probably pegged you as going for the typical African hat.
Yaya, you're, I feel, half African, half cowgirl. Looks like you're about to ride a giraffe. I think I'm not feeling it.
You have this intensity to prove your sort of Africanness, and I think that sometimes it's overbearing. It's just too much. It's sort of a layer on top of a layer.
Okay.
And that's interesting, because you can kind of see Tyra even getting
she was. Absolutely.
Like, what exactly?
That's not going to go over well.
You could have just said you did not like her sense of style and left it just as it was, right?
Exactly.
She did have a little bit of a bunch of
cross-cultural, but hey, this is
that's her style.
If you ask me, do I like it, not like it, I could tell you maybe I liked your pieces, but not together.
Right. Exactly.
Right? To dig into her culture, was, I think, too much.
I've seen plenty of models, plenty of entertainers where you see them off screen, you're like, oh, what are they wearing? But that doesn't take away from their talent. It doesn't take away from the fact that they are, extraordinary entertainers and models. So I think that, knocking her down in that way and trying to, diminish her self-esteem in that way, I think it's just nonsense. It just doesn't make any sense.
Tanisha,
honestly.
what is this, not only this moment, but the documentary as a whole reveal? I mean, obviously, it shows us a lot about the industry, but would you say the industry has grown and changed at all?
So
I'm sure Sophia has.
I'm going to speak for myself and what I've seen, and with being in the industry firsthand since the age of 6 years old, I feel like there are different narratives that are trying to change in certain ways. I feel like being body conscious now, I feel like with minorities and black people being more inclusive within, producing our own work and having our own voice in that way has been better. But I definitely feel like there is still a lot of stigmas around, being black in the entertainment industry and having to, go along with a narrative of what other, big brands and people want us to do. And I feel like we are changing in certain ways, but we're definitely sometimes I feel like taking 10 steps back when it comes to a lot of things. And that's why in America's Next Top Model was like literally one of my favorite shows growing up. Like it was like I was obsessed with the show.
Absolutely.
And I know that Tyra, with creating this innovative experience in the show, she had a really amazing impact on our culture, in our industry, in our industry and what we're doing now. So I feel like, there's a lot of positive that happened with the show, but obviously, there's some negatives as well.
Yeah, and I want to also mention, because you all started to bring up Shandy, who is the Caucasian woman who prominently featured, one of them in the documentary. This is the one who, says that she was sexually assaulted on the show and that it was caught on camera. And it kind of highlights how these women were, in many cases, in these overly sexualized environments.
Oh, yeah.
And so even as, you know, we know that what reality TV was doing then, Courtney, like, what are some of the things that we understand better about how we protect people who honestly are being exploited?
Yeah, and the crazy thing is the media landscape in itself and like the nature of the beast of reality TV is like, once you sign that dotted line or whatever the case is, it's like you're signing up. And even still to today, they had Big Brother, not Big Brother, what is it? Survivor just did 50 seasons, right? So there's an appetite and been an appetite for, you know, the culture that reality TV has created. And now in this more post-Epstein and everybody else in these conversations are more prevalent. I think that there's some more conversations and maybe what the socially, people in social media and the common person is making sure that folks are more aware, but I don't know that I trust that in these mainstream scenarios that they're protecting people anymore, right? Or is it more so that we as consumers or we have in private or smaller independent media or more ethnic-based media or, you know, these scenarios are now doing more education with folks around things that are going on. I don't think that the industry is shifting enough in a way that's saying something like that, won't happen or shouldn't happen or why it did happen or what we signed up for. And somebody made those decisions maybe in that way, the FCC and this and that, or people are cutting and you can't say things, but hey, we've switched in other ways too. You can swear more on TV, you can have things, there's the daggone, like the lines are so blurred.
You can go live from your phone.
Right, so it's like there's such a blend with it. So I wouldn't say necessarily that we've come so much further in being able to protect young women or protect folks that are in vulnerable positions in these ways or being exploited. I think that just folks maybe in some ways are being smarter because media is more accessible to more of us in different kind of ways.
And which is arguably why this documentary even came about, is because all of the commentary that we saw online.
Because the new generation is now watching it 10, 15 years later, and they don't, on some levels, they don't understand that their culture was different in the beginning of the 2000s. What the industry accepted, wanted, looked for, different. I'm not going to say that we've hit this amount of, we've changed, right? And we've made the industry great, but you've seen the shifts from plus size curve models, even us as African American women. There was a handful of us, a handful, and each and every one of them were 12 on a scale, right? If we had to scale it 1 to 10, Naomi, Iman, they were 12.
Hello, somebody.
These are beautiful women, right? So now, this is what we have to achieve to in order to be taken seriously when you were coming out and
the
standards were higher then. This is why you don't see as many African American and Latino women in these supermodel positions, because they set the bar, and now the industry wanted us all to come in at that. So this is why Danny, for example, she came up for me last night with her gap. And she was, and I saw both sides of it. I understood Danny, it's part of me, it's who I am, I want it. But I understood Tyra. Tyra's coming from a place at that time where Danny wasn't going to be taken seriously. She wasn't going to work. She could be a Caucasian woman with a gap and be successful. She could not be an African American or Latino woman with a gap. That is a flaw.
And I also feel like, too, I want to add to that in a certain aspect of when you're an individual and you're in these spaces where you're on reality TV, there's cameras following you 24/7. You have to be mindful about your decisions and your choices. Doesn't matter, you have to, you're going to be put in situations that are going to be hard, that are going to be challenging, that are going to be testing your ability to be, to have common sense. And I feel like in a lot of instances, I'm like, oh, God, why would you do that? And it was like, okay, we have to, and anyone listening to this, if you ever put in a situation where you are a part of a group or you're filming or any of these spaces where it's a professional setting as well, you need to be mindful of your individual self and holding yourself accountable for what you're saying, how you're acting, and how you're being around other people as well.
But is it our job as the seniors, right, the mentors, is it our job to give some of that? Because a lot of these girls were 17, 18, 19.
Right. They should have been mentorship.
They never came, they've not even been out of their state, their
Right.
city, their
Mhm.
town.
Yeah. There should have been some, yes.
At what point did we own a responsibility to have these kind of like life workshops, right? So it's
Right.
not just about
It's
the
not just
idea
about- right.
of how to perform on the camera, but how do you perform off the camera?
And how has that changed now? I mean, I know you work with young women. You work with women as you do you. Like,
I would say we are all probably products of some sort of mentorship and being
Yes.
sitting at this table. So I think it's always informal. I think the Black community, brown community, whatever the case may be, we've always had informal, those relationships. And I think that being able to now look past, and I feel old saying this, right? I feel like how we talk about the cigarette commercials in the 80s and 70s, right? Like, this would never be on TV now or whatever it is. But it's like, this is the world that we're living in. And so it's like now even more so when we're with our young people, when we're in community with folks, like being able to have those conversations and even talking about this, and especially in this world of social media where freaking phones and everything else, they're sending and dropping files to each other in the classroom, and so folks' lives are being ruined. And our kids, we can have those conversations and being like adamant about them, but it's still, it's still happening. And so we just have to continue to be vigilant about spreading it and doing our big sister and auntie.
Yeah,
Exactly.
100%. So I have one last question here in the time that we have left. Just a simple yes or no. If a Cycle 25 comes around and you know a young woman who wants to be a model and says, hey, I want to go on America's Next Top Model, are you telling her yes or no that she should do it?
I'm going to tell her yes, but I'm going to mentor her through how she should be and how she should, navigate being on reality TV and being on that big platform. I'm going to mentor her, but I would say yes, take advantage of the opportunity. Why not? Yeah.
Sophia, Courtney?
Absolutely. I mean, I mentor models now, so it's a gamble. But if you're properly tooled, it could be awesome. So yes.
I'm going to say yes and bring your mama and your aunties. And
Courtney, Tanisha, Sophia, this has been wonderful. Thank each of you so much. And you are all still in the running to be America's Next Top Model.
Thank you.
And a big thank you to our sponsor, Brightbound, for supporting this conversation. Brightbound is reimagining career readiness, helping middle and high school students explore their passions, try out career paths, and make confident decisions about their future.